Venus is rasa. It's the sweetness of life. It's the juice of life. Venus is much more than love and romance. Venus is known as Shukracharya. In Phaladipika, chapter 2nd, there's a shloka, there's a verse, Shukro Bhargava Vanshajaha Striyopa Bhogi Bhogavan Kalavan. The first part says Shukro Bhargava Vanshajaha. That means Shukra, that's Venus, came from the lineage of Rishi Bhrigu. Shukra is the son of Rishi Bhrigu. Now, Rishi Bhrigu is the one who gave us Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. So, if you have a strong Venus in your chart, you can learn Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. You'll have blessings of Rishi Bhrigu. So, that's the connection. And Bhrigu Nandi Nadi is a very, very traditional, deep, almost I say like esoteric, tantric way of learning Jyotish astrology. Then it says Striyopa Bhogi Bhogavan. Bhogavan means pleasure, enjoyment. Bhoga is enjoyment and pleasure. So Venus is connected with all the things that we enjoy in life that give us pleasure. Then the final part says Kalavan. Kalavan means one who is creative, creativity, creative arts. So Venus is known as Shukra. Shukra is the semen, that's the potent energy, the male potent energy, the seed of creation. That's why Venus is the most creative planet. All the creative talents we have, you cannot have any creative energy or talents without blessings of Shukracharya. Then Venus is Shukracharya, the deity is Shukracharya. He's the one who had the wisdom to bring dead people back to life. Sanjeevani Vidya. So Venus is the most important planet when it comes to healing. It can literally bring dead people back to life. So that's Shukracharya, that's Venus. So we'll understand Venus in this video. And today is the first day of Navratri. That's the 9 nights dedicated to the goddess. And so this will be an offering to the goddess, to Lakshmi, to Shukracharya, to the planet Venus. First and foremost, Venus is Lakshmi. It's the wealth, it's the abundance, it's the enjoyment. Everything we enjoy in life, that is Lakshmi, that is Venus. See, and one thing about Lakshmi is Lakshmi goes wherever Vishnu goes. And so Lakshmi stays there. So with the abundance, with Lakshmi, with wealth, we need wisdom also. Only then Lakshmi will stay. So that's very important. So that's why in a lot of mantras, we actually chant the mantra Vishnu and we invoke Vishnu and Lakshmi together. Then it becomes more powerful. So anything that we enjoy, all the accumulated resources, all of the wealth, abundance, riches, gold, all of that is Venus. So Venus is very important. It's the material comforts. So Venus is Shukracharya. So the guru of material success is Venus. Now, talking about gurus, Venus is Shukracharya, that's the guru of the demons. Whereas, so we have 2 gurus, and the second guru is Jupiter, Brihaspati. He's the guru of wisdom. Now, the difference is Venus is a very personal guru. So like one-on-one teaching and a very traditional, very deep esoteric type of teaching. So like tantric wisdom, that is Venus. But also Shukracharya, the guru of the demons, you can say the demons or asuras, they are always going after the material comforts and pleasure. So that's the expansion in our life that Venus brings is through material abundance. Whereas Jupiter is the guru for spiritual wisdom. So that's the difference. But some people have Venus, Jupiter together in the chart. They say, oh, they are the enemies and this and that. See, inherently try to understand. Both are gurus and both have a lot of wisdom. So we can utilize them depending on other placements in the chart, what houses they are in, what sign they are in. But these two can give you a healthy balance of material comforts and spiritual wisdom. Okay? So that's a very, very powerful combination. Then Venus also represents spouse in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, as I mentioned. So that's my lineage. That's what we teach in our classes. So in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, Venus is the most important planet. But Venus represents spouse for a male native. So in a male chart, you don't see spouse from Jupiter. In fact, Jupiter is not spouse for anybody. neither for male for female. In Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, Mars represents spouse for a female, Mars represents husband, and female represents spouse or wife for a male chart. So Venus is very important. So for relationship compatibility, all of that, we look at Venus. In general, Venus is love, romance, enjoyment. But when it comes to partner, Venus is the wife for a male chart. Then comes the question, we want to understand Venus. In this video, we'll understand how to interpret based on the houses, the signs, the planets, the conjunction, the yogas, all of that. So we want to look at everything. But first of all, we'll begin with the exaltation and debilitation. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. Now, guess what? Who rules Pisces? That's Jupiter. So if Venus and Jupiter are enemies, then how come Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces? There are many reasons for that. First of all, Pisces is the sign of giving away freely, sharing without keeping any score. So it's like the ocean says, hey, come, take as much as you like, as much as you need, as much as you want. It does not say, oh, I gave you $5. You have to give him back $6 with interest. That's not Pisces. Pisces is about sharing and caring and expansion and innovation and imagination. So that is all Venus. Venus feels exalted there. Whereas, so Pisces, also if we see Pisces is the 12th house in the zodiac, right? So in the natural Kalpurush Kundli means look at the chart with Aries rising, okay? So Aries rising and then as the first house, and so the 12th house becomes Pisces. And so 12th house represents bed pleasures and enjoyment, so that is Venus. If you go deeper, look at the Kalpurush Kundli as Lord Vishnu laying down. Each house represents a specific body part of Lord Vishnu. So starting with the head as the first house, then we go counterclockwise. The 12th house represents the feet of Lord Vishnu. And guess who sits at the feet of Lord Vishnu? That is Lakshmi. So that's why Lakshmi, that is Venus. Venus feels very strong. It's very, very powerful placement for Venus in the 12th house. In your chart also, we're not talking about just the sign of Pisces. Venus is extremely powerful in the 12th house also. So those are some of the reasons. And in Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, chapter 24, so it says, Meena Rashau tu Bhargavo Bhavati Paramot Krishtaha Kanya Rashau Channicha. That means Venus is exalted in Pisces. It gives very, very strong results, but it's niche in Virgo. Now, why is it debilitated in Virgo? That also we'll discuss. But when we say give strong results now, yes, it is strong in Pisces. It can expand. It can give you all the blessings. But there is one catch. If a planet is exalted, it may have ego. So that's the negative aspect of some planet being exalted, may not be willing to learn and grow in life. That's why I've made some other videos, especially the debilitation of Mercury and like that. So now talking about debilitation, Venus is supposed to be debilitated in the sign of Virgo. Why is that? See, Virgo is the sign of like keeping track. It's a very, very analytical sign. That's the sign that says, oh, I gave you $5, you have to give me $6 back. So whereas Venus is the planet of love and romance. In love, there is no keeping scores. There is no interest. So you share freely, you give freely. So that's why Venus feels debilitated in the calculative, analytical sign of Virgo. So Venus is very, very powerful in Pisces, and it's not so powerful in Virgo. But what happens? A debilitated planet becomes very humble. It knows its limitations, so it works hard. So eventually, I always say, a debilitated planet is a huge blessing in disguise. So anyway, so this is about Venus, why exalted in Pisces, and then why debilitated in Virgo. Going one step further, let's understand why Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Libra. As we learned, Venus is Lakshmi, abundance, wealth, enjoyment. All of that is represented by Taurus. Taurus is the sign of wealth. The symbol is, the animal is a bull. Bull represents Taurus, and bull is Nandi. Nandi is guarding the Lord Shiva, and so and represents the milk products and all of that. So that's why all the wealth, money, and Taurus is the second house, second sign of the zodiac. That is family wealth, accumulated resources. Then coming to the seventh sign, that is Libra, and the seventh house. So there's always a connection between the houses and the signs. So seventh sign is Libra. Libra is the sign of sharing and trading, and give and take and socializing, hanging out with your friends. So all of that is Libra. That is what Venus does, sharing freely and socializing. So that's all Venus. So that's why Venus rules Libra and Taurus. And anyway, Libra is also the seventh sign, seventh house in the natural Kalpurush Kundli. So seventh house is partnerships, relationships. It's also the house of trading, doing business with other people, dealing with other people, our partner. So that's all Venus. So that's why Venus rules Taurus and Libra. And it's important to understand that no planet is inherently good or bad. You can say there is a higher side and there's a lower version, lower form. So lower means, see, Venus is enjoyment, pleasure, even bed pleasures, and Venus is enjoyment and material comforts. So the lower version means maybe it's afflicted or however it's placed in the chart. That means person may become too materialistic or just too lazy, and like a bull. Bull is lazy unless it sees something in it. So a person may be too much focused on material comforts, or just downright like too much enjoyment and pleasure and sex and all of that. But the higher form of Venus see, Venus inherently is what? Rasa, is the sweetness, is the love. And so higher form of Venus is divine love. So that's what Venus wants us to do, is develop connection with our higher self or higher consciousness, and offer ourselves. Like Mira, Mira is epitome of Venus. And so devotion and surrender, that is Venus. The higher form of love, that is Venus. So Venus, if Venus is strong in the chart, person will be, they will not feel sad or dejected when they have love or relationship issues. They'll find love in the divine. So that's a powerful, strong Venus in the chart. Then Venus represents, as I mentioned, all things we enjoy. So that includes vehicles, especially luxury vehicles. That's all Venus. So if you buy a luxury car, either Venus will having good transit over Venus, but of course your natal chart has to have a strong Venus. So if you get luxury vehicles in life, if you study Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, if you are materially abundant, or even work in the banking sector, things like that, you have to have a strong Venus in the chart. So that's how you see. In terms of people, Venus, as we saw earlier, Venus represents spouse for a male chart, but Venus also represents the female child. So the daughter we see from Venus. So in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, there are many different significations of the same planet. But if you want to analyze daughter, then you'll see Venus. But for female natives, Venus also represents your Jiva Karaka. It's your essence, it's your vital energy. So we look at health of a female native from Venus. Okay, so if you want to analyze, okay, so how the health is going to be next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, you look at the transits over Venus. But if you want to inherently see how strong the constitution, or in general, is this chart of a healthy person or somebody who keeps on getting some health issue or the other, then you want to analyze Venus in the chart. So Venus is the Jiva Karaka for a female native. Now we'll see some of the conjunctions. In Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, the conjunctions or the yogas, combinations of planets are extremely important. So we can go over Venus with all the other planets, and there are different methods of analyzing it. So I'll give you a few examples. If you have Venus making a connection with the Sun in your chart, and now connection can be conjunction, let's sitting together, or could be like a trinal aspect or some other aspect or exchange, anything. So though that's going to be a different video. But if Venus and Sun are connected in the chart, just look at the two planets. What is Venus? Venus is Shukra, the semen. It's the potent energy. Venus is pleasure, enjoyment. Okay. What is Venus? What is the Sun? Sun is the king. Sun is it's a ball of fire. It's a very Pitta planet. So when Venus joins with the Sun, then it literally burns up the semen. So, or in practical terms, you can say, person may not be able to enjoy wealth. They may be rich, but they may not be able to enjoy that fully, or pleasures and stuff. So it just burns up that enjoyment, because Venus is a Jala Tattva. Venus is water and Sun is fire. So that's why it sort of burns up the Lakshmi, the abundance, the blessings of Lakshmi in our life. So that's Venus and Sun. And then there are many, like even hundreds of different interpretations of the same yoga, the same combination of two planets, depending on what you're analyzing, what area of life you're analyzing. Let's take another example. Venus making a connection with Moon. Now, I'll give a very deep secret here. In a male chart, if you have Venus making a connection with Moon, then, and if they're married, so their spouse may have extramarital affair. Now, why is that? Venus and Moon together, whether male or female, it's not considered very good for marital life, because there may be a tendency to go out of marriage. Now, understand the reasoning behind this. Venus is spouse for a male chart, but also love, romance in general. And Moon is the fastest moving planet. It's the most changeable, changing planet. It's always waxing and waning, going up and down, but also it's just quick movement. So that's why Venus and Moon can give that tendency to go out of marriage, so extramarital affairs, or just a person maybe changing their partner very quickly, okay, because Moon is the fastest moving planet. Or the relationship could be very, very emotional. Moon is a very watery, emotional planet, and water, see, Venus and Moon both are water planets. So if they combine, just too much emotions, too much water energy. Then a very important combination you always want to look is, what are Rahu and Ketu doing in the chart? Let's say you have Venus and Rahu together in the chart, or making a connection aspect, whatever. If they are making a connection, the person may have, again, multiple relationships, or too much focused on sex or material expansion, but they may actually be very rich also in life, because Rahu expands everything. Rahu exaggerates everything. Rahu is a blower. Rahu is Maya, illusion also. So it can give you this insatiable desire to achieve something. You'll never feel satisfied. So when Venus is sitting with Rahu, you can have this excessive desire to acquire material wealth, to have pleasure, enjoyment, maybe multiple partners. So that's why we see Venus-Rahu combination in many charts of Hollywood actresses. Okay, so they have this Venus, and it does give you this hypnotic beauty also. So Venus Rahu can give you that exotic beauty. Okay, so that's it's just some of the indications. There, as I said, there could be hundreds more. Now let's discuss Venus and Ketu. Ketu is the body without the head. Ketu is detachment. Ketu is going within. Ketu is hidden. Ketu is headless. All of that can be applied to your spouse. Or there could be some secret relationships again, because Ketu is hidden. And or person may be detached, so there may be literal separation also. You may have a divorce, or just physically you live separate, like spouse may be traveling all the time. Or a wonderful, wonderful blessing of Venus with Ketu is that your spouse may be very spiritual, or you may do very spiritual things with your spouse, or you may become more spiritual after marriage. Those are some of the indications of Venus with Ketu. So that's how you want to analyze these conjunctions. Now let's see how you interpret Venus in different houses. First of all, let's say Venus in the second house. Second house is your family, your speech, and all of that. So there's a shloka in Phaladipika, chapter 7. It says, Dvitiye Shukraha Kurute Kalatram Manogyam Vani Madhura cha Tatha cha Saukyam. So the first part is saying, Dvitiye Shukraha Kurute Kalatram Manogyam. That means Venus in the second house gives you a charming spouse. Okay. The next part says Vani Madhura. That means you'll have a sweet speech, because second house is the mouth. Everything comes out of your mouth. That is second house. Anything you put in your mouth, that is food, is also second house. So Venus in the second house gives you sweet speech, because Venus is sweet. Venus is the rasa, is the sweetness of life. Venus is Lakshmi. It's the feminine planet. It's a water element. Then the last part says Tatha cha Saukyam. That means Saukyam, you'll have Sukha. You'll have comforts in life. So Venus in the second house will give you comforts. Now, second house is your accumulated resources, the wealth. And we've seen many people who have Venus connection with the second house. They're literally working in the banking, finance industry, or the second lord is sitting with Venus like that. So any combination of Venus with the second house can make you rich literally, but you could actually be working in the finance industry. Now, let's see Venus in the seventh house. Seventh house Venus means you may actually get married early. Does not mean it'll be a happy marriage always. You have to see other combinations. But it just shows. Now, Venus in the second house, actually, it's not a huge blessing for relationships, because it can be too much of a good thing. And I've seen many charts, Venus in the seventh house, they may have multiple relationships again. But it can give you early marriage. Venus in the 12th house, you may have hidden relationships. Or your spouse may be from a foreign country. Or you may have a very spiritual spouse. So that's how you keep on adding. You just take the planet, one quality of the planet, and then one quality of the house. So that's how you can analyze all of the 12 houses. Now let's talk about some of the remedies you can do for Venus to enhance your Venus. Now people ask, should I do remedies for a strong planet or a weak planet? You should do remedies for all the planets. If you do remedies for a strong planet, that'll strengthen the planet and give you blessings. If you do remedies for a weak planet, you'll be taking care of that weakness, so you don't have difficulties. So remedies for Venus, one is, and those are sort of common for all planets, but different depending on the quality, nature of the planet. First of all, Venus is rasa, is the sweetness. So art, dance, music, all of that. So any artistic skills, learn any of these, that's the best remedy. Or you can sponsor, you can give donations to artists, or just buy paintings and help somebody learn the classical dance and stuff like that. So any artistic forms or industry or sort of charity or donation in that area will be very good. Then secondly, see, Venus is the most feminine planet. It's Lakshmi. So honoring the Lakshmi, honoring the women in your life is the best remedy. Honor, respect your spouse, your wife. Honor and respect your daughter. Honor, respect your mother, and even mother-in-law. So all the women, that in your life, if you respect them, then Venus will be strengthened. Then, of course, there are mantra remedies. There are many, many, many mantras you can chant. The simple Bij mantra for Venus is Om Dram Dream Dram Sah Shukraya Namaha. Om Dram Dream Dram Sah Shukraya Namaha. Om Dram Dream Dram Sah Shukraya Namaha. And then you can do the gemstones. You can wear diamond, but you have to see for how long you want to wear. Those things depend on your chart. And then there are other specific remedies like directional remedies, Vastu remedies, so plus specific kind of donations you can give. So those are some of the generic remedies you can use for Venus. Now we can analyze some charts. For example, one chart that comes to mind is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi has Venus in Libra. So what does that give? What kind of strength? So Libra, Venus rules Libra. It's great, but Libra is the sign of sharing and negotiation. So basically, it's the sign of fairness, and so that's what Mahatma Gandhi. He was a negotiator. He was he wanted fairness. He wanted free sharing and caring. So Libra Venus means person will be instrumental in bringing people together, society at large, or couples therapy, things like that. So those are some of your strengths if you have Venus in Libra. Then second chart is Angelina Jolie. She has Venus in Cancer in the first house. So Venus in the first house, that will color your personality. You'll have a Venusian personality, very sweet. Cancer is a water sign, so Venus is a water planet. It's a combination of very powerful water element and the sign. So like a very like a flow. So it's a lot of this feminine energy to your personality. And also Cancer is the sign of the mother. And Angelina Jolie is a mother. I mean, I think they have she adopted and plus her own kids, I think 5 or more kids. So deep inside, she's a mother, very nourishing and caring. But it's the flow, a lot of this water element, feminine energy, very sweet personality in terms of looks. So that's Venus in the first house in the sign of Cancer. So this was a quick introduction as to how you want to analyze. It's as if you're analyzing, it's like a birth chart reading. This is how you can approach. This is my approach, and this is the Bhrigu Nandi Nadi concepts, lineage. See Venus just from one planet. You can see the wealth, the money, the dhana yogas, the career, the flow of wealth, the Lakshmi. You can see the healing. And then also superimpose the transit. So what the Venus is doing in transit, and then superimpose on the natal chart. That becomes the full birth chart reading. So you can pretty much find your purpose, like purpose as in your path going forward. That includes the spiritual wisdom and material abundance. So you combine the Venus with other planets, what's going on, marriage, your marriage compatibility, relationships, career, finances, wealth, all of that. So that's how you can analyze planet in your chart. So leave in the comment section how you liked it, and you can tell us what your Venus is doing in your chart, which house, which sign, what planets it's sitting with, and let me know more ideas, what you would like to see. So we'll continue this series with other planets also.